Here we go. Who needs to have a better performance on Thursday to beat Minnesota? The offense or the defense?
Boy, there's a question.
Probably the offense, because they got to find probably 27 points.
Good answer.
Yeah.
Good answer.
I'll say offense. I'll agree with offense just because that's by far the bigger question mark right now. And I think their play, if they're turning the ball over and they're going 3 and out and that sort of things, I mean, it doesn't matter how well the defense plays. Like they're going to have a tough time.
Abby, I mean, it's a good question the person asked, but you always probably should include special teams in the discussion. Really the rule of thumb is if you play well in 2 of the 3 areas, if you win 2 of the 3 areas, you can win the game. So, if Nebraska's strong on defense and special teams, we'll have a great chance to win.
Okay, next one. What is the one thing that gives you confidence in Nebraska going into the Minnesota game?
The sense of the unknown. I think Jeff Sims and what he can bring, and Matt Rule. I just think you've got a head coach that has got a different approach, a different level of focus. Mm-hmm. And I think that's maybe what's been missing for Nebraska the last few years at times.
Yeah, I don't disagree. Go ahead, Rob.
Yeah, I just say overall, I think the defense is a lot farther ahead than I expected it would be, going into the offseason. I mean, maybe that's a product of the level of play of the offense. I don't know. But the fact that they've been the better side of the ball pretty much all offseason, and you see all the single digits and the praise that's gone on at all 3 levels of that unit, it gives you a lot more optimism about that group than maybe you had going into the spring.
It does, until I see it, though.
Yeah.
I have to go with something more abstract, like an intangible, and that is hunger. I do sense that this is a very not that Minnesota's not. It's always about levels of hunger. Everybody's pretty hungry. But there's some people are just more hungry than others. Some teams are more hungry than others. My sense of Nebraska's veteran players is they are sick of losing. They are sick of us. The offensive line is genuinely tired of hearing us question them. I know they are. So I think Nebraska will have a hard edge and a kind of a prove it mentality, especially the veteran players. And there's a lot of them. I mean, this is a veteran team that's tired of losing. I think that matters.
What do you got next, Abby?
We've talked about this a lot, how the defense got 8 of the 10 single-digit numbers. Does that make you worried about the offense, that there's not as many single digits on there?
A little bit on the offensive line, but Piper got one. He's not going to wear one because he can't. But Gabe Urban's the one that surprised me. Just the amount of attention. So it leads you to wonder, like, Coach Rule and the coaches are pushing him, but does the locker room think of him at that same level?
Oh, yeah.
Because
it's a player vote.
It's a player vote. And I do think internally there are guys in that locker room that think Anthony Grant's pretty good. And they've seen both backs that the last 2 years at Nebraska and watched them closely. So Gabe Urban's got a big shoes to fill, I think, just to kind of prove it. And will Anthony Grant get that opportunity?
Yeah. And I think a lot of it too is just the lack of established playmakers. Now, then you can conversely say, well, John Bullock got one. He's never played a down on defense. So, but I think it's a combination of the offense still very much evolving at this point to where the defense has, as far as what they've been able to do this offseason, proven it a lot more. And I think they just maybe have the personalities too, that are the guys that are stepping up and being those types of leaders to maybe that's still a work in progress on offense.
The player vote is always a little bit, you got to, if I were a coach, at least I'd make sure it's not just a popularity contest, so I don't know what to make of that disparity. Again, I hate to say this, people get sick of it, but Sean alluded to it. We need a game. A lot of these questions we get, it just feels like I can't really answer that till I see him. I can't answer a lot of questions about Jeff Sims till I see him in a game against a Big Ten opponent. And here we are. I wouldn't say this if they're playing Northern Illinois. No disrespect, but we're going to know. You know what? We're going to know a lot.
Yep. I mean, a lot of questions
Thursday night. Yeah. We're going to know a lot Thursday night.
All right, Abby, what's next?
Is there a Husker playmaker on offense or special teams that could wow the fan base on Thursday and heighten the expectations for the season?
Billy Kemp. I just think his ability with 140 live punts fielded in games, returned or fair caught. I think he's got the ability not to run one back because that's hard to do, but just give them yards when they haven't been getting yards there. It feels like since DeMornay Pearsonell.
I'll say Fedoni. I think that his ceiling in that tight end role, we haven't seen Nebraska utilize its tight end nearly enough for a long time. And they got a guy now. They got a horse.
I think
and
they
he's
do,
healthy.
Rob.
I think
they do.
You talk about all these questions at wide receiver. They got some dudes at tight end. And Thomas Fedoni tops that list.
I'm most excited probably after Sims to see Fedoni. I just got to think that picture is going to look really good.
It just looks too good for it not to translate.
It not only looks good, but it sounds good. Fedoni is everything you want in a player.
Yeah, there's a reason Rule loved him from the minute he got on campus.
He's very interested in winning, and playing football. He loves it. 6'6", 245, loves football, has a lot of ability. What could possibly go wrong?
All right, time for two more, Abby.
Okay. Which areas of the game or parts of the game are you looking for immediately noticeable improvement? Which parts should fans be patient on? And if there is a lack of improvement in what area, which one is concerning the most?
Hard questions to answer, but I would say the offensive line and how they push off the ball. Mm-hmm. That's the first thing you're going to look at. Do they get a push? Do they create movement at the line of scrimmage? And do they protect?
Protection on the edges.
Yeah. They say both sides of the trenches. Where can the defensive line stop the run? How are they going to hold up against a very physical, established running offense? And then the offensive line, can they be a physical, established running offense and keep drives on schedule and protect the quarterback?
It would be a body blow to this fan base. Is it if you're watching the game and it's apparent that they can't hold up front? Because how do you fix that?
Right.
How do you fix it?
Where it's 2nd and 11 and they just can't run the ball.
Now, you'll be able to against some teams. It'll be okay against some teams that just aren't very good up front. The non-conference opponents come to mind. But in the Big Ten, it would just be – it's hard to get better if you're at that part. Mm-hmm. If you're not holding up front, that doesn't usually get all that much better.
Yeah. The bigger concern, though, for me is offensive line. If that offensive line is not good – it's going to be a long year.
All right. Final question, Abby Barmore.
Okay. This is one of our most popular questions every week before an away game. So what is your restaurant recommendation or activity recommendations in Minneapolis?
Activity.
All right. Well, this is either going to be the best idea ever or could be a long weekend for me, but my whole family's coming with me. I'm either going to be like, guys, what a getaway this was, or guys, I'm glad to be back on a regular routine here. But
what are you going to do?
We're leaving Wednesday.
Yes.
Obviously, we're going to go to dinner at Murray's Wednesday night.
Nice.
We're all at the same hotel, but I'll probably find you guys that are we have this 20-year history of this dive bar called Cousins.
20-year history.
I've been going there since.
How old are you?
I've been going there since the 04 Dairy Queen Classic. That's how long I've been going to this bar.
That was a baseball tournament?
Yes.
The 04
at the old Metrodome.
Nebraska's been playing baseball. I covered. I don't know why, but I went and watched baseball up there once, and so we've been going to this little dive bar, kind of
Dairy Queen Classic,
the DQ Classic.
It's a big deal.
Yeah, real big.
But yeah, we've been to Manny's. You can't. You got to bring your. It's a little higher priced places, but you're going to get a great experience.
You go to Manny's for the vibe. Like if you want to go to a nice elite steakhouse, like just for the atmosphere, you go to Manny's. But I've heard from multiple sources. I've never been to Murray's, but Murray's is right on the same bar food wise. It's just kind of got that older
1960s.
I heard it described as blue hair atmosphere.
Let's go.
Yeah, right up your alley.
More of a mafia type hangout, I've heard. Okay. Feel,
So
that sounds more.
The food is right. They're just very different atmospheres. We got a question on the chat about like places to go around the Minnesota Stadium, and the obvious one is there's a BW3s right across the street. Like literally, you can see it from the stadium.
Living out of the box there, baby.
Ooh.
But if you go a couple blocks down the way, there's this bar that I really like called Stub and Herbs.
Okay,
and it's it's just kind of a cooler, low-key bar, really good burgers. I go there pretty much every time I go up there for basketball. So if you don't like BW, you've been there. BW3s, Stub and Herbs.
Wednesday night, can we go get steak?
Yes.
Okay.
Let's go to Murray's.
Are you guys going to roll into Manny's or Murray's?
Let's go to Murray's.
Whatever you want to do.
You wouldn't like Manny's.
Okay. Why is that? Why do you say that?
Too nice.
All right, that's fine, and we'll plan on that. That sounds good.
And then the Husker bar, if you're looking for like a place
Yeah,
that
good
you
call.
know Husker fans are going to be,
Yes.
the Lions Pub,
Yep. Lions Pub.
which is basically next door to Murray's, that is the designated Husker bar. And every time I've been there, and I think Rob and I have been there 6-7 times now,
Flooded with Nebraska fans.
and it's just like the hangout bar for all Husker fans. So
Yes.
Lions Bar Wednesday night, great spot if you want to watch the volleyball game, especially.
Oh yeah,
That will be the place to go for that. And, Buffalo Wild Wings, you can't go before the game, like Robin said. It's got an
You
outdoor
can't
beer
get any
garden.
closer to the stadium.
Like it is like the Champions Club of Minneapolis, but it's a Buffalo Wild Wings.
yeah, and you can't go wrong at Buffalo Wild Wings. Trust me, I eat there. I've probably eaten there 400 times. 400 times.
400.
Yeah.